Saturday night, and welcome into another episode of the Delco Duo. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm one half of the Delco Duo, Monica Cryan.
And I'm the other half, the temporary half, Kelsey Fabian. I'm filling in for Jenna while she's on maternity leave, but Jenna is about to return, so this is my last show. At least until you guys need me to fill it again. But it's my last show until then.
I was going to say, you have a permanent spot on the Delco Duo anytime that you want. The problem is it cuts into your weekend, so I don't know why
why I would volunteer?
Yeah, why you would volunteer for this. But I really do appreciate you filling in. We've had so much fun.
It's been so fun. I loved it.
It's a fun show. You know what I mean? So the premise of the show, if you're not familiar, for those of you just tuning in, we take issues that people send in to us and we give like a Delco perspective, some advice on how to handle it. And then we bring in one of our own issues. And you've been filling in for Jenna, but she's coming back from maternity leave after Labor Day.
I know.
So this is the last or one of the last shows. We'll see how things go.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for filling in.
Loved it. Thanks
Before
for having me.
Before we get to the issues, let's get to the debrief. What a ride it has been. Media, so unforeseen. Media Little League went to the World Series. It was crazy.
Yes.
And just amazing. We're so proud of them.
Yeah, and there was so much like hype and camaraderie around it. The Phillies getting behind it. It was awesome.
It was. They didn't take the whole championship, but they did win one game in the World Series, lost two, so then they were eliminated.
I think lost their first, won their second, lost their third.
Yes. So it was just so exciting to see. But, you know, it's so funny when we say, like, with these tournaments and everything, they, you know, went to the World Series. They didn't win the whole thing, but we keep not talking about the fact that they were state champs. They were Middle East.
Mid-Atlantic?
Mid-Atlantic.
Do you know where we are?
Why would I have called it the Middle East? Media, you are not Middle East champs.
Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic champs. Thank you so much.
Yes.
But that's what's so impressive is Pennsylvania champs, Mid-Atlantic champs is even crazier.
Yeah.
So.
And they're 12.
I know. That's what I kept thinking the whole time. And we really couldn't talk about it much because, you know, we weren't sure with the tournaments how far they were going to go. So we couldn't say like, oh, you know, we filmed this like on a Friday and then it would air on a Saturday, but they would have a game on a Saturday. Right. So it was just like we couldn't talk too much about it. But now that, you know, it's ended, we can talk a lot about it. And I just find it crazy, the pressure on these 12-year-olds. Yeah. And they all handled it amazing. But, I mean, it wasn't just Delaware County. It was Pennsylvania. It was It was the whole region.
Well, and I even saw them getting like some interviews. Like it was kind of like putting like Delco on the map. Like people interviewing them not from our like local news stations, but interviewing them from other places and being like, well, like let me say, like tell us some of the Delco words. Like,
I know.
Let's hear your accent.
It's always so funny when people talk about Delco, how they immediately want to talk about the accent.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, there's a lot more to Delco than just an accent. Like, it's a lifestyle.
It's the first thing you notice. It's the first thing you hear.
I guess that's
the first impression.
I know, but it's so funny. It's like, it's a lifestyle. It's not an accent. It's not about the food. It's not about, you know, the location. It's everything.
Those things play into it, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, it was really cool. They definitely put Delco on the map, gave us a lot of pride. We were so happy. But of course, you know, this shirt was my favorite and I can't find it, so that's why I'm not wearing it today. But Delco versus the world, and how perfect is that? You know, that's what I loved about this whole thing, is that really it just brought a lot of people together. Everybody, the shirt's
got to be somewhere. You wore it
down the shore.
You wore it one day. And then it disappeared.
I wore it one day, and then I brought it down the shore because they were playing over the weekend. So I was like, oh, let me bring it down the shore so I can wear it, and I did. And then I thought I packed it, but I don't think I did. So I think it's down the shore. That's why I'm not wearing it right now, and I'm wearing this boring shirt. But Delco versus the world, isn't that true? Yeah. Isn't that true?
It is. But the kids probably now, even though obviously, of course, they wanted to like win the Little League World Series, probably are a much deserved, like needed and deserved break. A break from all the press, a break from the hype of it all. Just you're right. Second to like process it all.
I mean, think about it. It just ended, and now they've got 1 week before school starts, basically.
Yeah,
like
a whirlwind.
And the parents, I can't even imagine the parents, how much time they took off for this. You know, the parents of the kids basically just upended their lives.
In general, when your kid is a good athlete or super dedicated to something at that age, it's a lot of the parents' commitment as well, because they have to take you. You know what I mean? Like
I only feel for them.
Although the kid is very committed, also are the parents.
But one of the young men that I interviewed, 12 years old, was talking, and he said, "Oh, I want to thank media for the support, and also my travel team." So this is like his second baseball team that he's a part of. My goodness, but it only makes me think of like my future, and my kid's future. The baby is right now, he's 1, so in 11 years, I just really want that for him. I really, 11 years, we're coming. 11 years.
What if he's like, Mom, I want to play the tuba. I don't care about baseball.
I want to play lacrosse. You're right. You can play lacrosse and baseball.
What about the tuba? You're not going to let him play the tuba?
He can play tuba. He can definitely, but you have to be a part of sports in our family. You don't have to be amazing at it. You got to be a part of a team sport.
Well, if he's not amazing, he's not going to be on the Media Little League World Series team. I hate to break it to you. I
don't know if you've seen. My son is already like 3 foot.
He's
1 year old and he's like 3 foot.
I don't think baseball is going to be the sport for him. He should be like a linebacker or like a basketball player. Yeah.
Okay. I just picture him as Aaron Judge.
He's 1.5 and he carries around a full hoagie. And he looks like he belongs in like the 3rd grade.
All right, let's get to our first issue that you've sent in to us. This is Hannah from Havertown. I live in an apartment. My upstairs neighbor wakes me up every morning with his alarm. He lets it go off for 30 minutes and it vibrates the floor. I have a perfect solution for this.
Go ahead. What is it?
That is so irritating. That's so rude. And it's really tough. Living in apartments, you do deal with a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
I would 100% say something.
Well, okay. What would you immediately be confrontational about it, or would you kind of be passive aggressive? I would be totally passive aggressive, and I have a great way to first confrontation. First time you talk about it, be passive aggressive. Go to them and knock on the door and say, "I just don't want you to sleep through your alarm. I want to wake you up. I don't want you to sleep through your alarm and be late for work." That's what I would say.
See, I think your first time you could actually just like slide a note under their door, and they don't even have to like put a face to it. Just be like, "Hey, like, I can hear your phone vibrating like in the morning." Like,
not a bad idea.
I would do that first, because then it's like just kind of like you could just write them like a nice note, but just kind of like letting them know. And see if that works.
Right.
But then after that, I would 100% knock on their door and be like, "You've got to stop that."
It's one of those things where if people don't realize how annoying it is, then it's fine for them. You can snooze as much as you want if you live in a house. You know what I mean? But they may not realize how irritating it is for you below them. So I would not immediately get mad about this. I would not get confrontational about this. I would use either what you said, slip a note under the door, "Hey, this is really irritating me. It's waking me up and I can't fall back asleep." Or do what I do, and I would just, "I don't want you to miss your alarm. It's woken me up. I'm surprised it hasn't woken you up."
I know we have to go to commercial, so I'll keep this really short, but my very first apartment, there was someone who lived below me that was doing something very annoying. I had said something to them. I had said it multiple times.
Segs.
They wouldn't.
Was it segs?
No.
Oh.
They, for some reason, thought I was loud and I'd be sleeping. And so our 2 apartments overlapped their apartment. It wasn't me. I would be sleeping and they would take their broomstick and slam it on my floor thinking that I was walking around or something. So I used to tell them it wasn't me, and then finally I got so annoyed because the person just kept doing it. I sent my dad to their door, and because I was like 22, I sent my dad, and they never did it again after my dad went to their door.
Well, yeah, sometimes people get irritated too easily. Yeah. Like if you live in an apartment, like I said, you got to deal with some stuff. Yes. But if it's waking you up, keeping you up, definitely I would handle it.
And if none of that works, send your dad.
Wild.
He was like, "I don't care about this little girl." And then my dad went, and he was like, "Oh, sorry."
Very true. All right. That was one issue. What'd you knock over, Kels?
My phone, I think, fell down.
Oh, all right, good. As long as it didn't break.
Luckily, I don't need to make any phone calls right now.
Our next issue is about notifying next of kin. Stay with us. It's not.
Welcome back. It's Saturday night. You're watching the Delco Duo, and this is a show where you send us your problems or things you might need some help with, and we give you advice, but with a Delco twist.
And so this is Kelsey's last show, temporarily filling in for Jenna while she's on maternity leave, but you may be making more appearances. And,
well, now you know if you need off, I've got you.
That's very true. What was your favorite part about this show? Like what kind of...
I think my favorite is what people, when they just watch like our morning show or whatever, what they don't see, even though I think everyone knows we have good chemistry, is like 95% of the time during commercial breaks or when Monica and I get ready in the morning or even when Jenna's here, we just talk about, we probably share way too much information with each other. Like we just get to chit chat. And we don't get to do it on the morning news show, but that's what we're doing on this. We
got to talk about the news, and I got to talk about the weather. This is kind of just like our relationship.
Yeah, I remember Jenna once. I think she had said that sometimes our job like felt like it was like brunch with the girls.
Yes.
And that's what this also feels like.
Yeah.
But we actually get to show it on air.
Yeah. And I like that it's, people's issues that they send to us, and then we always are bringing our own issues that we actually talk about.
Yes.
Behind the scenes anyway.
Yes.
This is something that I brought up to you already.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get to our second issue of the night.
All right, Sid from Swampmore. My wife was in a bad car accident and had to be hospitalized. After talking with the doctors and figuring out insurance, I called her daughter from a previous marriage to notify her of the accident. My wife's ex-husband, her daughter's father, got on the phone and yelled that I should have told him first instead of the daughter. So the ex-husband wanted to be notified before the kid.
Notified before the kid, and I kind of took it as not because he just, wanted to know.
Because it's his daughter.
It's his daughter. She's going to be upset about this. I think he kind of felt like now I'm behind the 8 ball on handling my daughter's emotions.
I also think he would probably, as her direct, parent, would want to bring the news to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel really bad because, I understand... it's really tough. That's her ex-husband, co-parenting situation, and it's also, he's the stepfather, so he feels like I should be able to talk with my stepdaughter and notify her of this, but biological parents and, especially if he was there, he should have been the one to have been notified first and let him handle how he wants to tell his daughter about the situation. So I don't think he should have gotten on the phone and yelled about it.
Right.
There's
a different way to handle it.
Yeah, there's a different way. You guys, as stepfather and father, need to have a good relationship too.
Yeah.
So in no way should he have yelled at you. He could have been like, hey, not that you don't want to ever say next time this happens, because God forbid that ever happens again where someone's hospitalized because of a car accident.
But just with serious issues, come to me first.
Come to me first, especially if she's a younger girl.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. I wish we knew how old the daughter was. Because I do think that makes a difference. Like
either way.
Yeah, but if the daughter's like 25... I could see why you would say, I'll call the daughter directly. But if the daughter's 15...
Right. I just took it as she was younger and the father wants to be able to handle this in his own way. Co-parenting's really, really tough.
I imagine, yeah.
And also to Sid, hopefully your wife's okay.
Oh, yes.
Terrible. Hospitalized in a bad car accident. That's so scary.
Very scary.
So hopefully she's doing okay. But I think that she would even have told you at that point, call the ex-husband, tell him, and then he can tell my daughter.
Right.
So,
But to be fair to the stepdad, you also have to remember his wife is just in a bad accident. He's probably not necessarily thinking rational either, or he's going through a million different things that he might not have been in the perfect mindset to make the most perfect decision for everything, right? Like he's already very stressed and under a lot of, I don't know, an overwhelming situation.
But that's why I think at this point there's no need for the ex-husband to yell, but Sid, I would now go and apologize to him and say, I'm really sorry. Not that there will be a next time, but if something like this similar occurs, I now know I'm gonna talk with you first. And that's how we'll handle that. So I would apologize, Sid, when things settle. All right. Coming up, we have one of our own issues. The Delco Duo's got a bit of an issue. Make sure you stay tuned for this. And I'm also interested to hear what you think, and you can always email us what you guys think.
I don't know what your issue is. Normally, I feel like I know prior. You've kept it to yourself.
No, I haven't. You know my issue.
Oh,
I texted you. Stay with us. Okay.
See.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Welcome back. It's Saturday nights with the Delco Duo on PHL 17, and now it's time for one of our own issues. Let's see who's got an issue.
What's Monica crying about?
I've got the problem this week. I recently went to an event, a group gathering, and someone was giving a talk. And the person sitting next to me, I didn't know them that well, but the person sitting next to me kept sniffling. Just sniffling.
Monica is right. She did text me about this.
I did text you about it.
I didn't realize it was still weighing this heavy.
It is weighing. Oh gosh, I don't understand. Doesn't that annoy the person themselves? Like if it annoys me, it's annoying the person. Sniffles the whole time.
Yeah, it also is annoying because you would think at some point, like you said, it would be annoying to them, or they'd be like getting self-conscious that they're doing it, that they would maybe like remove themselves to go get a tissue or to go get toilet paper or something, maybe to help.
Here's the other thing is, yeah, if someone was, nose running, there's a difference between like nose running or just sniffling.
I mean, you're the allergy lady. You would know.
I know. That's what I mean. Like when I need to blow my nose, it's like you can hear it. I'm stuffed up. I sound like a foghorn. But that like just persistent where it's dry. They're not sniffing anything up.
Maybe it's a nervous tick.
Fine. But shut up.
Take your nervous tick somewhere else.
It's so distracting. I'm not listening to anything this person is saying, and I'm the whole time just like, is there a way to politely ask someone to not just sniffling, but to stop that nervous, like, how sometimes people will pick their nails.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
people will clear their throats.
Humming. I actually had a coworker at my very first job, and he was the meteorologist, and he used to hum to himself all the time, and I literally just flat out told him, and I was like, no one likes listening to that. You have to stop.
So that's what you did.
Yes.
You just outright handled it?
And I knew other people didn't like it, but I literally just said, I was like, no one likes listening to someone hum in a silent, like everyone is silent, and then you're just humming at your workstation for everyone else to hear.
Humming to me, that's so obvious. Like, I feel like that's easier to...
I don't know that, once again, I think it's something that I don't know that they knew that they were doing, right? Like they just... were doing it maybe and not realizing.
I'm running through my head because again, I'm so distracted. I'm trying to pay attention to what the person is saying, but I'm running in my head like, is there a way I can properly tell this person to lock it up? Because I know you don't handle things the way I do. I'm like very direct and like, I know you are. And
Monica's not confrontational.
I didn't do anything.
You could say,
and now,
do you have a cold?
That's what so I thought about doing that. Like, hey, do you have a cold? But they
Or
clearly
do you need a
didn't.
tissue? I have one in my bag.
But that's what I'm saying. They clearly did not have a cold. It was just a nervous.
But they don't need to know that you know that. They just it'll bring to their attention that like, oh, I'm making a lot of noise with my sniffles.
Oh, and then you just get irritated by everything that they do. You know what I mean? Like he would shift in his seat, and I'm like, oh God, now you're shifting in your seat because I was so consumed by their sniffling. I just don't do that, people. Like don't. Think about how you're affecting other
But
people.
I'm telling you, I think sometimes things like that, people don't know that they're doing them. Like, I don't think that they realize that they're doing it, or if it's like something that they do, they so frequently that their brain isn't like registering every time they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. And so that's why
Which is why you just point it out and you say, do you have a cold?
I think
hear
that's
you
what
sniffling a lot.
at one point I was going to do. What I wish I had a tissue handy. I would have been like, oh, here's a tissue, but I didn't have a tissue handy, so it would have just been me being.
Or Monica, you're the allergy queen. You could just say, "Oh, I hear you sniffling. Are your allergies bad right now? Mine have been bad." You could totally do
That's
that.
what I should have done.
Yeah. Then it just sounds like you're like, I can relate to you.
I can
girlfriend,
relate.
Boyfriend, whoever it is.
I feel boyfriend. I feel for you, but shut up.
There you go.
You gotta stop.
Bring your allergies into it.
Okay,
That's your way out.
Yeah, I wish I had kind of done that because after the hour-long talk, I just got nothing out of it, and it was so irritating. And again, like
was the sniffling.
and I started getting irritated with like everything that they did instead of just the sniffling.
Can you not breathe?
You sound okay. I just think you're doing this for no reason, and so now we got to stop. So I think that's what I would have done. Going back, is I would have said, "Hey, do you need a tissue or?" Are you sick? Me too. That stinks. Let's do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys have suggestions, please let me know because I never want to be caught in that
I just gave
situation.
you a really good one.
But I like to hear what everybody else thinks. I like to hear what everybody else thinks because I can't be the only one who's just been really irritated by it. Delco Duo at phl17.com. All right, that's it for our issues. And now we've got your Delco trivia, and we're sticking with Delco getting into the Little League World Series because it was so much fun. The ride was amazing. What other team made it to the Little League World Series before media? Make sure you stay with us. How was Alex today? 240, you said? Okay, cool. Thank you.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I can't believe I called it Middle East. I also wait. I have a real quick question. Do you guys know if there's still the Exchange Club Little League in Upper Darby? I thought maybe you might know. You don't know where Upper Darby is? Yes, I was gonna say. Let me say.
that's all you need to say, Monica. Upper Darby, where that town that's not that good, they had a little.
All right, I don't think it does. Eddie, you don't know? I know, I don't think it does. Okay. Cool. What Delco Little League team made it to the Little League World Series before media? And this was a long time ago. It was Newtown Edgemont Little League in 1967. And then before that, Exchange Club Little League in Upper Darby, 1956. So, oh my gosh, it has been forever.
That has been forever. I'm really glad that you broke down the LL stood for Little League because I thought the team was Newtown Edgemont LL. And I was like, why do they have LL?
Well, for on my Newtown Square and Edgemont and Broomall people, it's called Nell. They call it Nell.
Oh.
Nell. Okay.
Wow.
But isn't that so forever ago? You would think.
Yeah.
1967. So that's why this was just such a cool run. I mean, if you think about it, all the teams that feed into the Little League World Series, there's so many. It's more likely that the Phillies make it to the World Series than a team like Media.
I don't know enough about Little League. Will some of these boys be on the team again next year? Or
no,
they all
it's 12.
move out?
So they have Little League World Series, I believe, for like 8 and 10.
But this is the oldest group.
This is the oldest group, and it's the most prestigious, Williamsport, like really exciting when you have 1 year.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy about it. You have 1 year to make it to the 12 and under Little League World Series. That's the one that really counts. You're playing like all these crazy teams. So really, really exciting. And we actually did see emails, and someone, I believe, emailed and said, oh, don't forget another local team made it to the 10 and under. And that's really exciting for them. But the one where all the hoopla is surrounding is 12. And then after that, they go on to play like tournament teams for and you don't play necessarily for your like town. You know what I mean? That's why it's so prideful and so exciting. But so Newtown Edgemont, and that was 1967. That's why this run was so exciting, because it was like for forever.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Delco had ever done that. All right, so much fun. Love you.
Love you too. This has been a great time. I loved it.
We'll see you again on the Delco Duo. You're always the best. Email us delcoduo@phl17.com with your issues. Always appreciate to see your emails.
Thanks for having me.